Hey guys, so I'm coming on today to talk about craft show setups and what to bring and how to set your table up, what works best for me anyways that I find that works best to attract people layout wise and stuff like that. And then I'm going to talk about how to manage your time when working at home and on products. I know there's been a few questions, not just to me, but just in the group itself, on ways to get motivated, ways to stay on track, ways to, I guess, just to work on time for, let's say, a craft show or a wholesale order, anything like that. So those are the points that I'm going to talk about today. As for the craft show, I think I'm going to talk about I guess things, and again, talking about marketing. So marketing for the craft show on your, your social media and stuff like that. How to prepare the products and then set up for the craft show. So I think I'll break it down a little bit like that. So we've got a couple people on, not too many, but I'm just going to go for it because they tend to be kind of long, and if, people don't necessarily want to watch that long of a video. So yeah, we're going to start with how to manage your time, because it kind of works into the craft. I think I'm going to actually mix them both together. So first, the easiest ways to kind of look for craft shows, I guess, would be like, I know in my hometown we have specific pages that are like Sudbury vendor events or Sudbury craft shows or anything like that. I've looked on Kijiji as well. But yeah, you kind of have to look in your area and kind of snoop around for the craft shows. Now, to know if it's a good craft show or not, at the beginning it's kind of hard because if you haven't really been to too many, you don't know. So like my first year, I did a couple of crappy craft shows because you have to try them out sometimes, right? So even if they say it's going to be well advertised and we're spending a lot of money on like the radio and this and that, it does not mean that it's going to be a good craft show. Okay, guys, I've done craft shows where I've seen the posters everywhere in the city and there was still not that good of a turnout. So you want to try to stick to craft shows that have been running for a while, like a few years or longer. If they're new craft shows, then you can take the risk if you want. I like to ask for a list of the vendors that are already signed up or that are planning on going, because then you can kind of see if you've got competition or not, or what type of craft show it is. So if it's more like independent consultant type craft shows, you may not want to go, or you may want to. I personally don't like craft shows that have too many independent vendors. I don't find that that's a true craft show. And so sometimes I try to stick away from those or stay away from those, but it's really up to you. So just do your research, ask questions, ask the organizer questions about the craft show and stuff, if they've done them before, and then if they have, ask them what the attendance was so that you get a really good idea. Even try to go out of town a little bit. I know there's a few craft shows that are 1 to 3 hours away from where I live, and I think I'm going to try and get to those maybe in the fall or next summer, and organize myself that way. Another thing that you could do is, just to kind of organize yourself for the next years, is to write down all of the craft shows that you've heard about. And if you can't attend to those, or if you can't attend as a vendor, go as a shopper and look around. Go during the peak time. So if it's like a 10 to 4, go at like 1ish or so you could kind of have a good idea. I've gone to a lot of craft shows that I wasn't attending and really got a good feel. There was one actually in particular that I'm really going to try to sign up for. The lineup was actually outside. I had to wait 45 minutes to get in. So that one is a good craft show. So, test them out. And then write a list for the next year. So write the date or the contact name, email, or any information, the name of the show, and then kind of stay in contact with them. Even if you email them right after the show, like a week or two after the show, and say like, I went to your craft show, I'm a vendor, it looked really good, or whatever, I'd be really interested in attending your next craft show if you can let me know when it is. And then you can kind of stay in contact with them like that. And then it just gives you a more professional kind of look too. You're welcome, Kathy. So yeah, so those are a few tips just to kind of find craft shows and keep track of the good ones. So you've signed up to a craft show, or you've signed up to a few craft shows. Now, I always give myself at least a month, because I don't prepare product. I don't have product always on hand. If you do, then that's fine. You could go to whichever ones you're ready for. So this is going to be more as a craft show that you're not prepared to go to. So I give myself about a month, if not longer, especially when ordering product. If you have to, I'd even give myself like a month and a half to 2 months. So you really want to be prepared and don't rush yourself. Let's say give yourself a month when you have all of your supplies to create your products. So I don't have craft shows that are 3,000 or 5,000 attendance. So I don't have to make 500 bath bombs or 1,000 soaps or anything like that. I'm pretty good at doing 50 to 100 bath bombs. I could do about 5 to 6 batches of soaps, and so giving you that kind of idea. Maybe 20 scrubs. So they're normally about I'll say 200 to 1,500 attendees, so that gives you somewhat of an idea. Obviously, if you've got bigger craft shows, you're going to want to give yourself more time. So you've signed up for craft shows. You're going to add that to your calendar so that you can stay organized. Now, I have it organized on my phone, and I also have a huge one of those like calendars that you do have to be registered business in Ontario in order to do craft shows, and do have to have insurance. You should register your business if you're serious about it. I know when I first started, I kind of tested the waters. So I went in as a non-registered, non-insured business, just because this is something that you're going to be spending a lot of money on, wasting a lot of money, not wasting, but you're going to be putting money in that you're not going to see at the beginning. So if you kind of want to just test and see how your products do a couple craft shows with nothing. The only thing is that you're risking somebody suing you if they get a severe allergic reaction, or a break in the skin or anything like that. They could turn around and sue you, and then if you don't have insurance, then you're really screwed in that sense. So try testing your products out on friends and family first, and then if it seems like you're getting a good response, then register your company. Registering isn't that expensive in Ontario anyways. I think it was about I'm going to say around the 150 mark. I can't quite remember. Maybe 140, 160-ish kind of thing. It wasn't that expensive, and it wasn't hard. You just go online and do it. The insurance, you might want to shop around, but I know there's a few guilds that you can sign up with, and I've seen insurance as cheap as $455 and can go up to like $2,000 or $3,000. So shop around for that. But yes, I would recommend that you be registered and insured as a business to go to craft shows, because they'll insure you at the craft show. So if anything happens, your insurance will cover you. So so write your information down. I've got a big calendar that sits on my desk. You're welcome, Sherry. So I have a big calendar that sits on my desk, and I write down all of my craft shows that are on there. I also write down the deadlines that I have. So every week, every day of the week, I have a list of things, and so I'll write, make bath bombs, make soap, make sugar scrub, make whatever, and I list 3 or 4 things. You don't want to overdo your day. Obviously, like for me, I've got a 17-month-old at home, so when he's awake, I don't can't do too much. So I tend to do stuff when he's napping, which now has kind of come into me doing live chats, which is okay. I enjoy that. But I do a lot of my work at night. So once he goes to bed till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes I'm making product. So there's some things that I can't do, you know, but anyway, so don't overfill your day, but just list the things that you want to do in your day every day. If you're working at home and you don't have another job kind of thing. Even if you do have another job, you can still kind of manage your evenings to be more productive. And so that's what I do. Then any day that, so let's say I got 3 out of the 4 things done, that last thing gets pushed up to the top of the next day, and I make sure to get that thing done the next day. As for labeling, at first I was letting labeling go to right at the end. And I found that then I was getting really frustrated, because if something wasn't working out or whatever, I knew that I still had 20 other products to print out or whatever. And so I found that really, really stressful. So now what I do is once or twice a week, I take time at night, and on my calendar, I write labeling and packaging. And so I take, you know, a couple of hours and I label everything. So that's a really good way to kind of stay on track. And then that way it's done. You put it in your bin, and you put it, you know, in your storage area or whatever, and you're done. You don't have to pull it back out and you know, fiddle with it. So organize your day like that. Determine the amount of products that you're going to need. So this is going to go a lot into when you order your products. You don't want to under order or over order. So write down a list of the scents that you want to do, the products that you want to do, the amounts that you think that you want to do, and then order your supplies that way. So the next point that I had here is to create a schedule. So just like I said, in your calendar, write down everything that you want to do, and give yourself at least a good, like the last week before the craft show, I like to not even write anything down there until I get to that point. So I'm pre-writing everything as like for the month or a month and a half, 2 months, however long you want to give yourself. But that last week, I'm not writing anything down until the week of. So that week is going to be for last minute. You know, if I didn't get a chance to do a certain product and it got pushed down and pushed down and pushed down, I'm going to do it then. Any packaging or labeling, I'm going to do it then. I'm organizing myself that last week. I don't want to be, you know, the night of stressing out over unlabeled product. It does happen. It's happened to me many times where I've had to do it. But I try to give myself that last week to really, you know, get myself organized and all that kind of stuff. So add whatever that you haven't done to the end of your week, so that you can stay organized. Then you can go to, sorry, I just have notes and I was rereading one. Then you're gonna post on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on whatever social media that you have, on Instagram. So I like to use Spark. It's an app on iPhone. I don't know if they have it on anything else. Is there any specific order you go for as far as what product gets scheduled first to make? Sure. I like to do, obviously your soaps are going to be the first thing because they take 4 to 6 weeks to cure. So some, like I just made the unicorn soaps last night. They're not going to be ready for my March 5th show, but that's okay. Because I mean, you can only do so much in a day, right? But yeah, so I like to do the soaps first. I like to do anything that's in little containers, like the, sorry, I'm going to end up going over you guys. Any of the like, scrubs, body lotions, anything like that that goes into a container. I like to get them done right away because you seal them, you label them, they're done, and they're going to stay fresh, right? Like these last for a lot longer than other products. Things like bubble bars or bath bombs. Bubble bars that need some time to dry, those would be next. Bath bombs are what I leave last. I give myself about 2 weeks-ish before the show, because if anything happens, there was just a girl actually yesterday or today, she was freaking out because her recipe that she's always been using has been working great. Now that she had a show that she kind of took at the last minute, she needed to make X amount of bath bombs, and now her recipe isn't working out for her. So now she's stressing out, right? Because it's a little bit last minute. So like I said, I like to give myself a little bit of time for that, but that's one of the last things that I make, because bath bombs are the one thing that I like to keep super fresh. I find If anything's going to lose its scent, it's going to be a bath bomb first before a sugar scrub or soap or anything like that, right? But don't do it days before your show, the bath bombs. Give yourself enough time. So that's kind of how I schedule my my products to go. So yeah, post on Instagram. Oh yeah, what I was talking about, Spark. So that's an app on iPhone. Again, I don't know if they have it on the other stuff. Yeah, so I go on there and it's kind of like a ad creator. They're really, really cool. They just look professional. So I just write up like, you put your logo on there and you just say, you know, we're attending so-and-so craft show at this time, this date, come and join us. And I've even listed, like last fall, I listed all of the craft shows that I had, or as many as I could, like the first, let's say 5 craft shows, I listed them all in there. And then I would just kind of repost that every once in a while to keep people in the loop. I've also posted I haven't done that. I'm going to be doing that this year. I want to start posting my actual personal events. So on your Facebook page, you now have the option to create events. Or I've just realized that it could have always been there. But anyways, so yeah, you can do your own events. So I would take the information from the organizer's event, basically repost it on mine, and then that way people who are on your Facebook page or group or whatever can you know, say if they're attending or not. If you have a blog, you can write a pre-show blog about the craft show and get people involved that way. If you want to kind of work on your wholesale orders, wherever the craft show is, especially if it's in a new area that you haven't really touched base on, you can kind of go and go around that craft show area and bring in a flyer, again on Spark or on Word or whatever. Just make a little flyer kind of thing, and you could bring it to some of the businesses that are around that craft show and just say, you know, I'm so-and-so, I own this place, I'll be attending the craft show, whatever the craft show name is, from this time to this time, the address. I thought maybe you'd be interested in possibly having a wholesale account with us, or whatever, you know, word it however. If you'd like to come and check out some of the products, I'd be there from whatever time to whatever time, and then we could discuss if you're interested, right? So it kind of just gives you another little leeway into possibly grabbing some new wholesale orders. So you'll do that. You'll obviously you'll pay for your craft show. So this is all like pre-prep for the craft show. I'll talk a little bit more about managing your time to create some of the products that you're going to be making. So like I said, you can have the calendar to organize yourself. I also have a big board that I do on a monthly basis. It's like a big whiteboard. And so I bought different colored markers, and I basically, sometimes I do weekly and sometimes I do a whole month. If I'm really, really busy, then I just do weekly. And if it's, you know, in the slower periods of time, then I do monthly. So again, I'm just basically writing down in more detail, I guess. So the scents that I'm going to use, if I have to order anything, if I have to call anybody, if, you know, more detailed of your day. From this time to this time, I have to go do this, or from this time to that time, you know, and really, really break it down that way. So I really like that board because then I can scratch it out. I find scratching things out makes me feel more like I'm accomplishing something. And then I also, on my computer, because a lot of that stuff is in the basement and I work upstairs, so I don't see it as often as maybe I'd like to during the day. So I also have sticky notes on my computer. So I put, so I don't tend to do too much on Sundays and Mondays. Those are like my days off. If I end up having time, then I'll do some work, but I don't put anything on those 2 days. So I have sticky notes for Tuesday through Saturday. And then again, like I'm basically just writing down things. Again, it's just, I find it's just a lot of repetition. I've got like notes too, like handwritten notes close to like my actual station so that I can scratch off. It's just more places that you can post the list of things that you need to make in your day, the more it's going to come to where anywhere that you look in your house, you're going to be like, oh, I have to do this, oh, I have to do that, and you don't have to run downstairs and check, or run, you know, to the office and check what you need to do. It's just posted everywhere. So that's kind of how I like to do it. So I try and get up at the same time. It obviously helps to have a baby. So we're normally up at around 8 or 8:30, and then I feed him, all that kind of stuff. There's some mornings where I'm a little bit lazier, so I'm just kind of chilling out and checking Facebook and stuff like that, and you know. But I try to, you know, while he's eating and stuff, get ready right away. Eat breakfast, and basically just start your day like you would be going to work. I find that that's a lot more motivating than if you stay in your pajamas. I've done a lot of days where I just stay in my pajamas, and I find I'm super lazy. So if I change into a pair of jeans and just a t-shirt, or at least just change out of your pajamas, even if it's still, because I know some people like to wear, you know, specific clothing when making product, just to, you know, so even if it's scrubs or something, go buy yourself cheap scrubs at Walmart or wherever, you know, like a scrub shirt and pants, and wear that. And so, you know, that's your work outfit and that's what you're going to wear every day. You know, do your hair, brush your teeth, all that kind of stuff. Eat. And that's going to get you motivated. I know in the summertime, I normally in the morning, I go for a walk with my son. So it gets me dressed, brush my teeth, all that kind of stuff. It gets me out, gets a little bit of fresh air, the sun, all that kind of stuff. And then when I come back, I'm ready to go. Schedules obviously are going to be different because, like I said, I have a son, you may not, or you may be working. So, you know, obviously that kind of changes to your personal kind of scheduling. I also like to schedule little 10 or 15 minutes breaks. So if you don't have anybody and you're working like 9 to whatever kind of thing, you don't work, you have no kids, you're doing this full time. So you're going to get up, you're going to get ready. So now you're going to start making product. After about a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours, depending obviously on when you get up and when you get started, I like to book a little 10 or 15 minute break. Now this can be used to either have a snack, to check up on Facebook if you want, if you want to go outside, like if it's nice, take little breaks and go outside if it's nice where you are, and take a little walk around the block or something. Just the idea of getting out of the house, I find, and breaking your day up helps with keeping yourself motivated. So I do 2 of those. I do one in the morning, and then I do one in the, like after lunch later on type thing. So, you know, those are the times where you can do your own personal things. And then lunch. So around noon or 1 o'clock kind of thing, I like to take lunch break. So this could be about anywhere from half an hour to an hour. And this is when I power down. So, or I like to anyways. It's no Facebook, no computer, no nothing. I eat. Again, if I want to do a little bit of reading or anything like that, some organizing, I do that. Again, like there's a lot of times where I try to go out for lunch with a girlfriend or something, or my mom or anything like that. Just no work stuff, okay? So if you're at an actual job and you were to take your lunch break, you don't sit around and say, oh, by the way, boss, I'm here, you know, to help you out if you need help during my break. You don't do that. You're like non-existent during your lunch, right? You either hide in the lunchroom or you leave, or, okay, so you got to treat your hour lunch or half an hour, however long you want to give yourself, the same way, okay? And I find, again, that helps a lot too. So that's what I like to do. Because I tend to work more at night, that schedule still plays a part. It's just pushed later on at night. So normally during my lunchtime, which is when, like at noon, that's when my son goes to bed. So I'm either prepping so I'm mixing my lye, I'm prepping my jars, I'm mixing anything that needs to be pre-mixed and sat around, anything like that. That's what I'm doing during my lunch while he's sleeping. I'm doing these videos and stuff like that. So my day is still the same thing, it's just pushed down. So however way you want to organize it, just give yourself some good breaks and keep at what your schedule is. If you're the type of person that gets really into Facebook and stuff, power down, turn your phone off, put it upstairs or bring it downstairs or put it in the car even, so that you're not tempted to go on your Facebook. I know I've had to do that sometimes because I'm a big I post a lot, so I'm constantly going to see like, oh, I have 5 new likes, or I have comments I want to read, I want to answer them, right? So there's times where you just have to shut her down, put your phone away, get rid of it, and do your work. You can check your messages and stuff after, okay? During your 15-minute break or your lunch break if you really need to. So that's how I like to kind of manage my day. Wear comfortable shoes. Music helps if you want to listen to music, or like I've heard people that do like the audiobooks if you want to do something like that. I know like I have my computer set up and I just watch like YouTube videos of other soapers and stuff. So Katie, Royalty Soaps, I like watching her, La Fille de la Mode. I watch Missouri Soaps, like all of them. I just play them. I don't even care if I've seen them 100 times. I just like listening to them, because every once in a while you're going to hear something and be like, what? I didn't hear that last time. And you're going to want to watch it and you're going to learn something, right? So that's what I like to keep myself motivated with too. So those are things that you can do to manage your day. So now back to the craft show prepping. So now you're on a roll, you're doing your products, you're, motivated and stuff. Now, now it's you're prepping for your show. So I like to review the other vendors that are going to the show. Now, I like to do this because sometimes you're not going to be the only Bath and Body product vendor there. So if there's somebody else, I like to know who it is. And I don't stalk them, but I snoop on Facebook or on their website and I look at what they're offering. How, are they using essential oils and trying to do it more natural? Are they doing, fragrances and fun micas and colors and stuff? What do they typically sell? Do they even do bath bombs or, scrubs or whatever? And this is how I kind of make it so that it's somewhat fair for the both of us. She can do whatever she wants, or he can do whatever he wants, but I'm going to work it so that I get the best advantage possible. So I kind of cover the whole map. Like I said, I'm bath, body, and home. So I make bath products, I make skin products, and I make home products, candles, cleaners, all that kind of stuff. I've done nail polish. Like I'm pretty much all over the map when it comes to products that I've done. I don't carry them all the time, but I've offered them at some point. So for example, I went to a craft show and the girl was more in like candles and little scent tarts and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, that's her thing. That's fine. I'm not going to bring too many candles and tarts and stuff. I'm going to bring other stuff, because as soon as you're more than one person selling the same stuff, you're going head to head and you're competing. Okay. The only other way that I would change it up and bring the same product is and I've done this too, there's been vendors that sell pretty much the same stuff as me, but they're on the more natural side. So they're using essential oils. They're not using SLSA. They're not using colorants. They're not using, embeds or anything like that, okay? So that's what I'm going to bring. I'm going to bring my intergalactic spinning foaming bath bombs that are crazy compared to hers, right? That just have a little bit of essential oils and they're going to fizz around and make the bathroom smell like lavender for a little bit, okay? No, that's not what I'm bringing. I'm bringing like the drizzled and the dipped and the fun crazy colors, and the ones that have, like the ones that are smushed together with the piped bubble bar stuff in the middle, and that's what I'm bringing, okay? So you really have to kind of think about it that way. Are you going to want to go bring the wow stuff? That's exactly what it means. So you want to decide, are you going to go the safe route and kind of bring the same things, or are you going to go a completely different route, not bring anything of that at all that she brings and bring your, completely different things? Or are you going to go head to head with her, but bring that exactly the wow stuff, okay? So that's something that you really need to decide. I am typically the one that's going to bring the wow stuff. I don't care what they do. I know that my stuff is different. They're just kind of plain Jane, nothing fancy, okay? I know that my stuff is different. So check out your vendors. Check out the vendors that aren't even the same as your stuff too. Because you know what? You might, like just what I did earlier, not that it was at a craft show or anything, but you could potentially find stuff like that. I just ordered little rings from my cousin who's been starting her little business. You can do stuff like that with other vendors. So if there's a jewelry maker, you can go talk to her and be like, oh, I want to start making candles with the little rings or little jewelry inside. Would you want to team up with me? Or a girl or somebody that does like wood signs and stuff. I really need a sign for my my booth. I want it to kind of look like this. Da, da, da. Can we talk more about maybe working together for signs. You could talk to the other vendors too. So if you already know who's there, you can kind of make a list of the names that you want to talk to, and even contact them pre-hand and say, like, listen, I'm so and so, I'm going to the same craft show as you, I want to talk to you about this and this, or I want to, I just want to introduce myself and stuff. Having business colleagues is the best kind of friendships that you can have. You don't want to go there acting like a snob or like you're better than everybody else, okay? You want to go there humble and respectful to everybody else. Exactly, the woodworkers, yeah, for the soap dishes. So you could totally, even if they don't have that kind of stuff there, if they're woodworkers, they'll help you out with anything that you need, okay? So yeah, talk to them and just be nice and polite, and don't make it awkward and stuff like that. If you can tell, other soap vendors are kind of and they're, that kind of vendor, don't even bother approaching them, because you're going to make it awkward for them. They're going to be pissed at you because you came to talk to them and you're confident, and and it's just going to make the whole thing awkward. So see who you can talk to, and the other ones, just leave them be. Don't even bother. So again, if you want to send emails or message them on Facebook, just to let them know that you're going to be there. So that's going to be a little bit like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before your craft show. About a week before, like I said, I don't like to have any products listed for me to make. It's more just labeling the rest of the things that I didn't get to, organizing, packaging, all that kind of stuff. You're going to post a reminder on your Facebook. So again, you can either, a lot of people like repin the event over and over again kind of thing, like every week or so. Or if you have your own event, you can repin that. Or if you wanted to do like a little flyer kind of thing on the Spark or whatever, you can do that and repost it and say like 1 week left, da, 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 whatever, and just hype it up and stuff. Share it to like your swap and sells, your vendor pages, your craft show pages, your like anything local. Share it on there and just spread the word, because that's how you're going to get more people going to the craft show. You can also post pictures of you creating stuff. So that's what I always do on my Instagram. Like I had said on one of the last chit chats that I did, like I'm posting pictures of me, or boomerang pictures of me pouring something or packaging or whatever, or soaps in the mold, or anything like that. So just post and post and post and say like, this is going to be available at this craft show, this is going to be ready for whatever name it is, craft show and stuff like that, that's going to be this day at this time, this location. So just talk about it over and over again. Tag your city. That might be another thing that I might do, is how to hashtag your pictures, because a lot of people aren't using the proper hashtags to get your name out of there, or even hashtagging at all, especially on Instagram. So hashtag your city, hashtag like any type of name. So like for me, for example, okay, I'm gonna like let's say the unicorn soaps that I did. I tagged unicorn, I tagged alicorn, I tagged ponies, I tagged unicorn soaps, I tagged unicorn land, I tagged unicornucopia, I tagged unicorn addicts, I tag anything that has to do soap making, CP soap, cold process soap, Sudbury. So I'm in Sudbury. Sudbury soap shop is one of them that I've been tagging, and there's another girl tagging them, and that's okay. If she's tagging them too like that, that's fine. Sudbury soap shop, Sudbury, Ontario, Greater Sudbury. What else is there? Shop local Sudbury, support handmade, shop small, small batch, anything. Like, you're tagging to tag, okay? Like, list them all, and when you post, or when you press post and your thing comes up and there's like 20 tags, it doesn't matter, because at some point it's going to get to somebody, okay? And that's what you want. Sponsored companies at craft shows are awesome about allowing ads for the show from vendors on their pages too. Yeah, so I've done that. I haven't done that with the Bath and Body products. I've done that with my other company, which is making fabric bouquets. So I've done the bridal shows, and I've sponsored. So you give an extra little bit. So like a lot of the craft shows, well, some of the craft shows anyways, they'll ask for like a $15 to $20 donation for a penny table or whatever. Most of them are, that's how ours work. And so if they don't kind of do something like that, you could sponsor. So for, like I said, for my other business, I've done like a free bouquet to whoever that wins. They pull prizes and stuff. So you could always do stuff like that. Or you can, some of them, they'll ask for money. So they ask for like a sponsoring package. You can do that too. But yeah, definitely if you can sponsor the craft show in any way possible, that's another way of getting your name out there, because then it's going on their event page. If they're doing radio, they're going to be saying your name. If they're doing posters, your picture is going to be on there. So that's a really good thing too to do, for sure. So yeah, post your pictures on Instagram. Yeah, so that's before. So once you get to the craft show, you're going to be setting up. Now, setting up is kind of hard for a lot of, well, for some people. I've seen some tables that get posted, and you know, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all, kind of thing. But there's a few that I was like, ooh, you know, it's okay, but it could be so much better. Now, I don't know if it's just because not everybody has the same creative flow as some people, but the main thing that I've seen is just things that are kind of placed one in front of the other, just flat on the table. No height, no color, no signage, not even a banner or even a bunting thing in the front. No decorations, nothing, okay? So for me, that's just, it's boring, okay? Let's be honest, it's just boring. Now, if it's your first craft shows and you don't know better, that's okay. But you can go on Pinterest and you can type or search craft show booths or vendor booths, and tons of pictures are going to come up, okay? Now, you do have to shop for props. You can go the cheap route, which is fine. I've done that too for some of my things. Little bins, little baskets. If you want to put a box underneath your tablecloth to add height and then put stuff on top or stuff in front. Crates. Crates are the most amazing things ever. You can paint them whatever color that you want to match, or, you know, and crates are awesome because then you can stack them on top of each other. Even if you want to put a board in the middle of them, you could do that, and then you have like 2 levels in your crates. That's an awesome idea. What else would there be? Little like pedestals and stuff, like glass pedestals, or tiered cake stands. You could do that too, and you can make some. Look on Pinterest and look for like handmade displays and stuff, and they come up with tons of awesome ideas, okay? Decorations. If it's fall, and if you have room, like I know I've had times where it's like, it's so jam-packed in my booth that like I don't have room to put little decorations. But if you do, let's say for Halloween, you could buy at the dollar store, you could buy little like ceramic little lanterns, little pumpkins, or little candles or whatever, and just put them here and there. You could buy you know, just like the fake fall leaf wreath and put it around your table, or the little bunting things, a different colored tablecloth on top. So I like to do layers when I do a table. I like to do layers. So I do my main color, which is either white, cream, anything like that, and then I'll do a top layer. So like for springtime, you could do like a nice lime green, or a pink, or a purple, or orange, or anything like colorful. For the fall, you could do like a red, or a burnt orange, or brown. Christmas, you could do gold runner, you could do red, you could do, you know, like spice it up. Don't just do a plain, you know, tablecloth. Spice it up a little bit. So those are things that you could do. You could do, like, you could use other, like to create height, you could do things like this. I just got this last week, I think. It's just like a bathroom shelving thing, and it's iron, and it's tall, like, okay? So I'm going to be able to put this behind or in front of my table, and even if I have products on the first few shelves until the table hits it, and then on the bottom, I can put like my packaging products and stuff underneath. So if I know some places they don't want you to put stuff in front of your table, put that behind your table and put it so where people can see it, and then you could still put product there. There's little, I know that they have them at IKEA, but they have little, I don't know what you're going to call them. They're like 3 levels. They're on wheels. They're little metal organizers, I guess. They have them at Michael's right now, 60% off. I think they were $60. So they're like 20, under 30 bucks, like 25 to 30 bucks or whatever. I can't remember the exact numbers. They're super cheap, different colors. Use those to put in front, or use those to organize yourself behind the table. I don't like to put my, especially with tables, you don't have a lot of space. So if you can create kind of like a little cash out area behind your table so that it gives you more room on your table to put stuff, instead of having like, you know, your cash box and stuff like that, and your bags and all that, and space to be able to package and everything. You want to put that right behind your table, okay? To leave as much room in front of your table as possible. So I like to use the V concept. So you've got your table, you want to create a V. So at both ends, that's where you're going to create height. And then beside, you're going to create something else a little bit higher, but or a little bit lower, but still high, until you get to the middle where it would be flat, and just have product. I've also done where I've got my two crates and stuff on the sides or whatever, and then I've put a board that's across, and then I'm able to put product on the board. Underneath the board, I've flipped a little basket right in the middle so that it's facing, so like it'd be flat. I lift it up like this, and then you could put product in there too. You're just trying to create dimension. Would be nice to put more fragile products up high out of that too. So I've had another just little table, little white table, and I'd gotten it from a friend. It was just kind of like a little stand with little arms out, and they had little ornaments that were hung in the store on those. And I hung my little ornaments. I had glass ornaments. Well, the kids were walking by and grabbing them. So right away I was like, nuh-uh. So I put that higher up and replaced it with something that was less fragile. And that's another thing. You want to make sure that nothing that's fragile is close to the front. That anything that because the kids are going to grab. It's a super awkward moment when kids come to your table and start touching everything. So you want to put stuff that's not going to break and stuff at the front. You're right. And then the things that you don't want any of the kids really touching, higher up and at the back. So those are a few tips that I like. I have pictures. I don't know if I still want to do that because you guys aren't too many that are watching. I don't really want to. Does anybody want to see like actual pictures of what I find are good tables and what I find? Well, I don't really have bad tables, but things to improve the tables with. You guys are 7 people, so if I can have 7 people say yes, I want to see pictures, or no, I don't want to see pictures, that would be great. I have tables of my own booth too. So I don't use, or I try not to use an actual table. I have an actual booth that I bring in. Okay, so nobody's really wanting to, I guess. That's fine. So, okay. So I'll just go through it quickly. I'll go through mine, and then like my pictures. Sorry, I'm just flipping things over. I'll go through my pictures, and then we can look at other booth pictures. So I'll show you an example of what's not like the greatest. Now this is one of my pictures, one of my booths, okay? Now, see how it's creating like that V shape, and I have that one thing there? I would have liked to have 2 or something else like right here. But it's the idea that you're wanting to create height on both sides and then kind of bring it down. See how I have like a lot of stuff lined up here? So I wasn't aware that I couldn't bring my booth, and I didn't have everything set up. Like I had brought my booth and everything, and she said, no, you can't put your booth up. So I wasn't prepared. But the idea is like I have a little basket there, and I've got a little tiered thing here, and another one there, and another little pedestal there, and a little container. So you're trying to put things in containers and not so much just putting them out on the table, right? Okay, so that's one picture. It's okay, but I wasn't that impressed with. Now this is another one of my pictures. Now I had a V-shaped table, and again, so I've got like a little bit of height here, a little bit of height there. I've got some height in the center, but I use these crates at the front to be able to put more product. I've got some buckets. There's another like tiered thing here, another little pedestal there, lots of signage. So I liked this one a lot more. This was one of my first craft shows that I had gone to. So again, kind of learning, you know, and putting stuff on top of other things to create height. So that was a lot better. This is one here that this is what I don't like. So when you just line up your stuff here. She wasn't too bad to add stuff back here, but just lining stuff up here, I don't really like. The table is really bare. There's no signage. You don't know who she is, her name, anything like that. Little bowls. I mean, you don't even know what's in there, right? So to me, this is what I find is a boring table. She's got a really nice bright tablecloth, but that's about it. So this is where you want to stay clear of. You want height. You want, you know, you want to create, put things down. Her table is also like a L-shaped type thing, so she could have put some stuff back there to help it out a little bit. One thing that I absolutely hate that people do are stand behind their tables. If you are able to push your table back and stand in front of the table, it's so much better. When you can be prepared with business cards or with samples or with you know, a bottle of lotion to test, it's so much better than to be sitting on your phone back there. You shouldn't be on your phone at all during the day unless there's literally nobody that's coming around. Then fine, you can check out, you know, your Facebook or whatever, but you shouldn't be standing behind your booth like that ever, ever, ever. You want to be approachable and stuff. There's one picture here. So this one here, if you want to line stuff up, you could get little boxes like this. So these are just like old dresser drawers that you can paint and put a new knob on, and then you can, you know, pack up your product that way. And then it's super easy to carry. So you just, your product's already in there, you just carry the drawer out to your car and you don't have to unpack anything, right? So that's a really good idea if you're wanting to kind of have that lined up look kind of thing. And those you can paint any kind of color that you want, right? Having backdrops to your booths are really cool. So these are just easy ways of creating backdrops. Now, if you don't have a way of carrying them over there, like a truck or something, then they're kind of hard to do. But if you do have a way of doing that, of bringing them, then these are really, really cool things that you can do. Plus, if you want to hang little hangers on them, you can get like tracks to put hangers and stuff, and you could hang stuff behind you like a little store, and that would be really, really cool. This is a really nice setup that I liked. So she's got like the little luggage thing to put some stuff in, which you could find easily, and then like the crates over here, another little box. So this is creating a V shape still, if you were to look at it, and it's really, really interesting on how she's setting her stuff up. She still has stuff in the front, which is okay. It's just you don't want all of your product to be laid out like that. If you wanted to make a whole thing, if you're just selling, your main thing is soaps, then you can make a whole, you know, a whole little display too out of everything. So like I was saying, like the crates are really, really nice. If you wanted to build something like that to put in front of your table, if you're allowed, those are really good ideas. What else is there? This I'm not too crazy about. A lot of people have it where it's their entire table. Again, you are creating height, but you don't have that V effect, right? Which is really appealing to the eye. So this just, to me, is too busy. And it doesn't interest me. If you have that, I mean, to each their own, you do whatever you want. But for me personally, I'm not a fan of this kind of look. So this is my booth. I wanted to talk about all the other booths first. So this is the booth that I actually have, okay? So, and I talked about it in the summertime, and in the spring, if I can set it up again, I might do just like a quick live video kind of thing. But basically it's creating height. There is no V effect, but this is a completely different type of setup, right? So this is more storefront. So if you can create something that creates height this way, you're set. So people come into my store, and I call it, people come into my store and they're right away excited to see what's there. You can clearly see everything. You know, I'm still adding the little bins and little boxes and stuff. At the bottom, I have some stuff there too. And this has changed over time, but the idea of having it shelved like that is doing really, really good for me anyways. Where's the other picture that I wanted to show you? I think that was it, actually. I don't have the other one. But yeah, so even with this one here, you could add, I had added a shelf. So I added another bin, another crate here, and then I added a shelf that went across, and that helped a lot too. So you could put your little products on the shelf there, on the shelf here, inside the little bin if there's a little bin there. So those are just ideas. Now again, even with here, the idea of having my white and then another colored on top of that makes for a little bit dressier of a table. I also had a runner that ran across there, and this was closer to Christmas time. So just to spice it up, my little signage and stuff, now I have a huge banner. So my banner is actually going to be put up here. So everybody's going to be able to see my table or my booth because it's already higher than everybody else's. So when someone walks into the craft show, they can see my products that's up here, right? Plus with my banner that's on top here, you're not going to miss me now, which is what you want. You want to be the center of attention for all booths, right? So that's pretty much the kind of ideas that I have. And like I said, go on Pinterest and look at the different kind of ideas that they have. So just type in, that's okay. But yeah, so just look on Pinterest and find some ideas and go to the dollar store and look for little bins. Go to, I've gone to like Salvation Army places, Value Village and stuff, where you bring used stuff and then they resell it for a cheaper price. Go there and find different kinds of little, you know, stackable bins, or like they had luggage. If your line is a little bit more vintage and stuff, get luggage and put your products in the luggage. Those little shelving units like I showed you, you can get those. I got that off of Facebook on a swap and buy. I just looked around, I seen it, and I picked it up for 15 bucks. So those are really good ideas to use to kind of create a more appealing table. And like I said, don't sit behind your table. If you want to be behind your table, fine, but don't sit on your phone. Always be standing unless there's absolutely nobody that's around. So like my other booth that I set up, I can't sit anywhere, right? So I just bring a little stool that I put where my little cash area is, and when there's absolutely nobody, then I take a little breather and I sit. There's been days where I've gone and I haven't sat at all, and other vendors ask me how I do it, because they're like, I can't stand that long. Like, how are you doing it? Because I'm motivated to sell. I'm there to sell, and that's all that pushes me during the day, right? So if you're having a slower day, it kind of sucks, but keep it busy, right? So those are a few of the things. Now, a quick little checklist of things that you could bring, and then we're done, I think. So for your setup, you want to bring a banner, any kind of signage that will showcase what your brand is, what your logo is. You want to bring clips, bulldog clips, safety pins, push pins, anything to help you clip whatever that needs to be clipped on to your table. You want to bring your business cards, which is super important. Clothespins, even if you need to pin signage to anything, those are really nice. You could paint them and stuff too. Displays, so like the little crates and stuff like that, and any hardware that would have to go with that. So like mine, at the back I have these big bolts that click everything in. Well, you want to make sure to bring all of that, obviously. It's nice to bring Ziploc bags in case for whatever reason something leaks, or anything can happen where you need a little Ziploc bag. So I bring just a couple of bags. Packing tape in case you need to tape anything onto anything and you want good packing tape, or electrical tape or something like that. Something that's durable and that's going to keep it, not just like little sticky tape. You want to bring price tags. You never want to go and not have price tags on anywhere. The only way that you could get around, well, not the only way, but one way that I've gone around it, and I'm still going to go back to having price tags and stuff, is that I actually take little square stickies kind of thing, and I price every single product that I have. I'm using the same stickies that I used at my hair salon. That's how we were doing it. So I've just gotten used to pricing every single product. I set mine at home to check everything is in the right place. I take a picture of it, so when I go to shows, I know exactly where things go. It makes it easier. Yeah, you can do that if your setup is always the same. So mine, I like to switch it up. So it's never the same. So, but yeah, if you want to keep it, if you know that this works for you, take a picture, set it up. And that's what I was going to do today. But my setup takes about 2 hours to do. So it was going to kind of waste a lot of time. But yeah, that's a good idea. You can set it up pre-hand, take a picture, and then you know exactly where all your stuff goes. You want to bring scissors, you want to bring stock list or inventory list, and you want to make sure that you do that before you go to make sure that you know what your inventory is. You want to bring a table, obviously, if they're not providing a table for you, and a tent or canopy if it's going to be outside. You want to bring a tablecloth, and like I said, layers are really good. You want to bring rope or anything like that to tie your banner if that's how you're going to be putting it up, and you want to bring weights for your canopy if need be. For selling, you want to bring bags. I like to buy bags at Michael's. They sell them like in packs of whatever, 10 or 13, and I go and I use my 48% discount, and I go about 5 times in a day, and I've bought bags, cute little bags for nothing. You can get them at the dollar store too. I just find the handles pop out. They're not as good as the other ones. Or you can grab actual bags. You could buy them like in bulk, just the clear like kind of grocery bags kind of thing, but with no names on them. You could do that too. I've done that. Make sure you bring a calculator unless you have it on your phone. Bring your phone, obviously. Bring your change box. Bring, if you want to bring a clipboard, because this would be a really good time to advertise for your spa parties, your hostesses. So you could have a sign-up sheet there. And again, you can make a little sign with your clipboard and a little sheet that has, you know, info that you would need, name, phone number, stuff like that. And then you could say, if you sign up today, then you get, you know, $10 off of your spa party rewards or whatever. You can have a little incentive like that. If you have a newsletter, you can have your newsletter sign up sheets, anything like that. If you have Square, make sure you bring your Square mailing list, like I said, for newsletter. If you have a little apron to put your money and pens and stuff like that in, bring that. Any other packaging items, so if you use tissue paper, if you have a little stamp that you stamp onto all of your bags, I like to do that ahead of time, but if you don't, bring all of that kind of stuff. You want to bring extra pens and pencils. I like to bring a little book and write down all of my sales and stuff. So I write, well, I was doing it a book, now I'm going to be changing to an actual like spreadsheet to keep it more organized. But basically I'm writing the amount that I sold and then quickly the items that I sold so that I can keep somewhat track. So when I'm doing my inventory afterwards, it's a little bit quicker. So if you want to do something like that, you can bring a little booklet or organize yourself a little spreadsheet. Map out your craft show. I pre-print thank you cards with my info on it and put inside. That's a really good idea too. I haven't done that. I slip my business cards in all of the bags, but that would be a really cute idea too, to have a little thank you card. That would be fantastic. You could also slip in like discounts and stuff. So if they sell a certain amount, over a certain amount, you can have a little like $5 coupon, $5 off next order coupon or something like that. But the thank you cards are a really good idea too, Margaret. So yeah, map out the craft show. So make sure that you know where your table is. A lot of the vendors kind of post on the event page, or they sometimes have their own personal groups exactly where everybody's going to be positioned. So if you can get a hold of that ahead of time, then you're wasting trying to find your table and stuff. And then directions to show if you don't know where it is, make sure that you find the directions for that ahead of time. I like to bring water, pop, juice, whatever I like to drink, snacks, a lunch, and I put it all in a little cooler. I try not to buy food there unless it's a vendor that I'm colleagues with. So we have one vendor that sells canned foods and stuff like that, prepared, pre-made foods, pre-prepared foods, that if she has her little warmer thingy there, you can go and buy actual hot food. So I like to support those types of vendors, but other than that, I won't go like to the cafeteria and order food or pizza or anything like that. I try not to do that. So I'll bring my own food in a little cooler. You want to bring your camera, or if you have your cell phone, I take pictures of my booth. I'll take pictures of of like the whole craft show area. So if I can get up high enough and take a picture of everything, because then if you post that on your page and it's a 2-day event, people will see it. And I do it when it's like super, super busy. Then they can see how busy it was, and it might get them to come the next day, or it might get them to come to the next craft show or whatever. People really like to see how the craft show went. So just take behind the scenes and take pictures during your day. Of course, your cell phone, you want to bring your cell phone. Cleaning wipes, so wet wipes or anything like that. If anything happens, leaks, whatever, you want to be able to wipe your hands or wipe someone else's hands if you're doing testing and stuff like that. You want to be able to keep clean. Hand sanitizer if they're going to be testing anything or touching or whatever. I always bring like a jacket or a sweater, because sometimes you get there and it's freezing or it's too hot. So I wear like a short sleeved or a tank top or something, and then I wear a sweater or a cardigan or whatever it may be on top. So you always want to prepare yourself and not be freezing cold or super hot or whatever. Especially if it's like outside or anything like that. If you have access to hydro or to electricity, we call it hydro here, to electricity, and you can plug stuff in. I would bring like if it's closer to the fall, I'd bring in like a little heater. If it's in the summertime, I'd bring a fan or, you know, something like that, to try and keep your booth cool or to keep it warmer. Kleenex or anything like that. Your laptop, if you need to bring your laptop. I like to bring lip balm or lipstick or anything to keep that fresh. I find talking a lot to customers and stuff, my lips get really, really dry. So I bring my lip balm or a lipstick or anything like that. A small first aid kit. So I like to bring like Band-Aids, a little bit of Polysporin, a nail file or nail clipper, stuff like that, because I find like there's tons of times where I've gotten my nail caught in something and it rips, like, and I need a nail file or a nail clipper and I don't have one. Or, you know, I've cut myself on something or whatever and I need a little Band-Aid or some Polysporin on there. So those are kind of the things that I tend to bring. And I just put them like in a little Ziploc bag and I throw them in my cash box. So they're always there. Same thing with my business cards. I always have pens in my cash box. So, you know, to kind of keep things organized. And then I like to bring a little trash bag or a little bin kind of thing. So I always have extra little containers once I've set everything up. So I like to just put a little bag in there and keep all my garbage and stuff in there. If you have a dolly, it would be really nice to bring a dolly so that you don't have to do so many trips back and forth. A lot of the places that I've been to, especially the schools, they have like little dollies and stuff like that that they lend to the crafters. So any sales signage, so if you're having sales or anything, make sure that you have signage for that. Like I'd said before, this if you're wanting to promote your spa parties, this is a fantastic time. Have a little incentive so that if they sign up right then and there, and make sure, like, if you sign up today or you know, then and your name is on the list, then I'm gonna give you a call this week and we're gonna book in a date and you'll get a free whatever or $10 off or whatever you want it to be. An extra notebook. I know I had mentioned that for like sales and stuff, but even if you want an extra little notebook just to write some notes down, I find I'll write down, you know, the times that it was really, really busy, just little notes so that when you get home, you can take note of that and keep it for next year. So was it worth going to that one? Should you go to it next year? Was the price okay? Did they ask you any, you know, did they ask you to sign up for next craft show and you said yes? We'll mark that all down. Approximately how many shows do you do in a year and which ones are your favorite? I do craft shows in the spring, and then I do craft shows in the fall, like winter time kind of thing. That's when the times are really popular. I do have one that's in June, I believe, and it's an outdoor event. But it depends. So last fall, winter, I did, I think, about 7 craft shows, and I'm hoping to do more next year, well, this year. For the springtime, I have, I think, another 6 or 7 again. And like I said, if I'm available that day and I see a craft show that shows that, you know, pops up in my news feeds or in my groups that I'm a part of, and, you know, there's not too many other soapers, or I feel like I'm interested in it and it's not too expensive or whatever, I sign up for it. I don't have a limit. The only time that I'm limited is in the summertime. for the Saturdays because I'm also doing wedding hair. So I'm a really, really busy girl. So spring and fall and winter are my times to do craft shows, and I stack up my weekends. So every weekend I have stuff. So the way that I organize myself to do product is I try to make enough product for all the shows, or at least a good portion of the shows. And then when I start to see things that are running out, then that's when I'll order more supplies if I have to and make more products so that I'm not wearing myself out and so that I don't make too much products. Because there was one craft show that was expected to have like 3,000 people or whatever. And there were a lot of people, but we were 5 Bath and Body Products vendors. And so I was, I think, second last or maybe third last. And so by the time they got to us, we weren't selling a lot. So I had made all this product thinking that I was going to sell, and I didn't. So just because you're going to a super, super busy show doesn't mean that you're going to do crazy good, right? So you got to keep that in mind too. So I like to bring enough. And if you run out of anything, then just take orders. Just say like, I ran out of this, so I'm going to take your name and number and I'm going to give you a call tonight, or I'm going to give you a call when it's ready or whatever. What would you say is an expensive entry cost to pay for a craft show? Craft show wise, I don't do more than $100. And even at $100, I find it's kind of expensive. I like to stay around the $75 mark. It depends on how many days it is too. If it's a 2-day show and it's a popular show and they've had good reviews and stuff, then I'll pay like 100 or 100. I don't like to do more. I know like for the other company, the flower business, for their the bridal shows are like $400 or $500. So for this, I like to keep them. I've found craft shows at $20 for a table. So yeah, those are the kind of prices that I like to stick with for the craft shows. For other things, then, because they've got like trade shows and stuff, if you want to go to that, if you feel like it'd be a good show for you, then, but you're paying a lot more for them for the show. So is there any other questions, Margaret? Because I think I'm pretty much done. Do you want to ask anything else? Anybody else can definitely keep asking questions and I'll answer. That's not a problem. So just remember, everybody, to not to overwhelm yourself when you're preparing your products. If you've been doing craft shows for years and years and years, and then right? But for the ones who aren't too sure and are just starting, and they've only had a couple years under their belts, or they have only a couple of craft shows under their belts, this is more for them. You do what works for you if you've already been doing craft shows, but for the ones who aren't really, are newer, this should be some good information for them. But yeah, so just remember, organize yourself, keep track of all your inventory, label as you go. Don't leave the labeling to the end of your the last few days. What type of insurance do I have? It's a typical product, like business insurance. So I have coverage for the craft shows. So if anything was to happen to the craft shows, I have coverage for theft. So if somebody was to come into my home and steal anything, if it's product related, then that insurance is going to cover it. I have liability insurance. I have so like if somebody was to get a skin irritation or whatever and they decided to sue me, I have coverage for that. What else is there? Oh, I have coverage for spa parties. So if people come to the house, I have coverage for that. Or if I go to somebody's houses, I have coverage for that. I think that's about it. I have basic coverage for a business, really. And that's what you should get. So if you were to call your business, your insurance company, like even your home insurance company, now be careful with your home insurance company, because what happened to me was I called them, I got insurance, which was fine. It was a little more expensive after when I found out what other people were charging, but it was fine. And when my year was up, they called me and they said it's going to be basically like almost 3 times the amount that you're already paying. Your company doesn't want to cover you anymore, so we're having to find another company, and this is what they're going to charge. And I was like, no. And then they told me that if I went to any other insurance company that was like online, like the guilds and stuff, that my home insurance would be canceled. Partially, I don't believe that, but just shop around and ask around, and don't take the first person that offers you the price. Shop around first. Last year for Christmas, I paid $500. It was a 3-day event. It was my first in a while. Everyone thought it was an okay price. I thought it was expensive. So after that cost, I made, yeah. So I mean, $1,200 is still a really good day, but you're going through 3 days, right? It's still good. The thing is that you're taking the chance, right? So again, if you think that it's going to be a good show, then, you know, $500, it's fine, but that's a big chunk. Plus you're spending for your supplies, plus you're spending if you want to get new, what's the word I'm looking for? Like new things to put in on your booth kind of thing, like the decorations or like the crates and all that, if you wanted to get anything new for that because it's Christmas or, but you still made a good chunk of money. So I mean, let me see, there says Seymour for 3 days. Yeah. So it's all right. Like I'm only making, maybe about $800 to $1,000 for like a 1 to 2 day craft show. But I'm only spending, you know, $60-$50. So it's up to you. If you have the money, some people don't have the money to put up front too, right? So if you don't have the money to put up front and you can only do little shows, do little shows until you build that money up. But if you can afford, you know, a big chunk like that, go for it. That's the thing, is the shows that are a little bit more expensive, I find, if they're well known and they're bringing in some good, you know, some good customers and stuff. It also helps to be approachable. So again, like I said, don't stand in behind your table texting and on your phone. You know, when someone comes to your table, say, you know, hi, how are you doing? Let them shop around a little bit. You can ask them, you know, have you ever bought any of my products, or have you ever heard of my business? They might not even know. They might think that you're a consultant, an independent consultant. So say like, this is my business. I started it, you know, a couple of years ago. You know, that kind of info, you know. Here, usually around $40 for a couple of hours. Wow. See, that's the thing, is like, I don't know. It depends on the areas. I've heard a lot of girls even on here saying, like, not necessarily saying how much the craft show was, but they're saying like, you know, attendance is like 20,000, and I have not been to a show like that. I wish I could go to a show like that. There was a show that I was going to go to about 3 hours away that I was interested in. I went to go check it out last year, and the vendor booths were retarded. I swear there was like hundreds and hundreds. You walked for miles and miles and miles, and there was just booth after booth, and it was like amazing. That was like business heaven. Like I wish I could have gone, and I wanted to this year, but I ended up booking a wedding here that weekend, so I can't go. But that's I'm sure that would have been a couple $100 to go to. So just feel it out. And I mean, it is what it is, right? If you want to do craft shows and they're expensive, if you want to go, you have to pay, right? So you do what you got to do, and maybe not overbook too much and see how it is. And then once you start making it a little bit more money, then you can, you know, save and put some money aside to pay for other shows. Not busy, yeah. So it's hard, right? I've had shows where, like I said at the beginning, where they've said like, I'm gonna be marketing, I'm gonna be on the radio, I'm advertising like crazy, it's gonna be such a good show. Yeah, not really attended. And same thing, like I just was able to pay my table, and she thought it was going to be like the most amazing craft show. And now when I see her, she doesn't even ask me like to attend, because she knows that I wasn't impressed. Because she asked me at a previous craft show before that one that I actually did really good, and she didn't do good, I guess. So she was kind of bad-mouthing the craft show that I did good at. And then when I went to hers, I didn't do good at all. And I think she realized that. So like I said, just Try to do craft shows that are well known in the city, if you want to have a better chance, I guess, at making good money. And the ones that aren't as well known, I mean, try them out. And if it's a good price, go for it. And if not, then you'll know next year, or you can go and check them out and just walk around and see. And then if you see that it's pretty busy, then mark it in your calendar to call her for next year and book it up, right? That's all you can really do. It's hard to look up for craft shows. It is really, really hard. And that's why, you know, it's nice if you can do wholesale orders or spot parties, because then that's where you're going to kind of pick up your money if the craft shows aren't working out for you. And it could also be your booth, right? Reevaluate how your booth looks and see if maybe you could change a couple things. Maybe it's not approachable. Maybe there's not enough signage to let people know how much things are. Anything like that, right? So just reevaluate some stuff, and if it's not working out for you, then maybe just craft shows aren't the thing to do, right? So try, like I'm really, really pushing you guys to try and do the spot parties, because it's a super popular thing to do, like the independent consulting. There's actually a business in my area, well, an hour-ish away. She's actually looking for independent consultants. So she's like the big deal, and then these people are going to order from her and do spa parties, and then the person that's hosting gets rewards. So she's like in a whole other level. So we're just starting out with doing hosting parties, and you know, who knows, maybe if some people want to hop on the independent consultant bandwagon, then we could get, you know, that going too, and you'll make money that way. So yeah. So I think that's about it. If there's any other questions, then message or comment below. In a couple days, I think I'm basically going to stick to like a Wednesday or a Tuesday and Thursday schedule. This Thursday I won't be able to, because my mother-in-law is coming to help me watch the baby, so I can get a full day in. So those are tips too that you could do. Call your loved ones, your relatives and friends, and ask them to take the kids for the day so that you can get some work done, because it really, really helps. But yeah, so Thursday I won't be hopping on, because I'm going to get a lot of work done, so I'm going to try and do it on Friday. But typically I think I'm going to try and hop on Tuesdays and Thursdays until I've kind of covered the topics, and until my YouTube monetization gets hooked up, because then they'll just be posted on Facebook, and I'll just post the link on the page. So, oh, one other thing I wanted to show you guys, because I had posted the unicorn soaps yesterday, and I cut them, so I want to show you what they look inside. I just cut them this morning. Oh, that one's a little wonky. I'll have to bevel that one. So that's what they look like. So I did a wall pour. So I tilted my mold to the side like this, and I put something underneath, and then I just poured along the wall just little lines across my mold. So my mold's obviously, like, you cut it so it's like this. So I just poured along the line. There's tons and tons of tutorials, but it was actually really easy to do. But yeah, so I just kept pouring, and then once it kind of got high, I tilted it the other way, and I poured, and then I poured, and I poured all the way to the top, and then I just piped the top. I put some of those little marshmallows in there, the little unicorns. This one's an alicorn, which I just learned, and some little sprinkles and stuff. So it turned out really, really, really nice. There's a few little glycerin rivers in there. You can kind of see right here. But I felt like at first my white was kind of getting too thick, and then I really, really, really stirred it, and then it got a lot like softer on the top. So that turned out really, really good. And then I also did some of these. So I just kind of did somewhat of a camo type idea. So my soap was already thick. So I just like do plops kind of thing in it. So I did in the color. So I had a pink, I had a yellow, purple, I had some white, and then this was like it was kind of like a light teal kind of bluish, something like that. But I guess with mixing it in the soap, it turned into like a light minty type color, but it was still fine. So those were the colors that I used, and that too I just kind of piped on the top, put my little marshmallows, my little horse, and those were my little soaps that I made yesterday. So I think that's about it. happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Yes, today is the day of love. I hope that you guys all did really good sales for Valentine's Day. I didn't make any products because I didn't want to. And I was getting ready for my craft show that was starting March 5th. So I said no to Valentine's Day products other than those little hearts that I had done for wholesale orders. But I hope everybody did really, really good. And if you guys have any other questions, let me know. And any other topics, let me know under here. And that's about it. So I'm going to let you guys go so that this video isn't as long as the other ones. And I wish you guys an awesome week. Bye.